Hi everybody, I'm Ashley and I am one of your featured shark scientists for the month of January. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to be there today, so I'm sending along this video to answer some questions you guys may have had. If you guys have any more questions, please feel free to post them on the Facebook page and I'll get back to them sometime this week. So the first question I have to answer is, how did I become a marine biologist? It's a long story, and I'm actually going to combine it with my second question, which is, how did I select schools? Honestly, I was lucky with undergraduate. All I knew was that I loved anatomy and physiology. I thought for the longest time that I wanted to be a doctor, a medical doctor, and that the ocean would be my hobby, swimming, scuba diving, and anything else. That said, I didn't really know the answer to the question, what do you want to be when you grow up? So when it came time for me to apply to colleges, I selected the University of Rhode Island because it had a wide array of programs, including pre-medical, marine biology, and political science. About halfway through my first semester, though, I realized that I didn't have to study the anatomy and physiology of people. I could study the anatomy and physiology of fish. And from that moment on, I was hooked. And I think that's when I truly became a marine biologist in training, so to speak. The next question is, why did I become interested in sharks? To that I have to respond, how could you not be interested in sharks? I love the ocean, and sharks are a key feature. They're one of the major predators. They're big, they are visible, and for me at least, it seems like every species has a unique adaptation to a given environment. More specifically, I probably became interested in sharks while I was at the University of Rhode Island. My sophomore year, I managed to get a job working in a research lab with Dr. Cheryl Wilga, who I have to say, she is a wonderful woman, a skilled researcher, and an excellent teacher. She really molded my beginning scientific capabilities and helped me to become the graduate student I am today. I worked with Dr. Wilga. She first exposed me to sharks. We studied feeding in small species like spiny dogfish and smoothhounds, as well as little skates. We used equipment called sonomicrometry. It's a big word, but all you need to understand is that this equipment allows you to track movement within an animal's body. And we used it to determine how the shark's mouth or its gill arches move to break down food items prior to the shark swallowing. And I worked in her lab for the duration of my undergraduate studies while taking any marine-related or physiology-related science class available. I also pursued political science because I don't want to just study the physiology of sharks. I want to make sure they're there for you to study. One thing I've definitely learned in science is answering one question leads to 10 more questions. So you really have to make strides to make sure your study species is going to be there if you ever want to get answers. Currently, I'm a graduate student at the University of Massachusetts Dartmouth. I selected UMass Dartmouth because I wanted to work with my advisor, Dr. Diego Bernal. So Dr. Bernal also used sonomicrometry, but not in a controlled laboratory setting. He used it in the field on much bigger shark species. Dr. Bernal performed muscle surgeries hanging over the side of a boat to determine how the muscle moved inside of a living fish. I thought this was amazing, and I wanted to become a graduate student in his lab. So I met with Dr. Bernal, and leading into the next question, which is, how did I get my research project? He and I worked together to design it and expand it. I told him that I wanted to study temperature because it has both physiological and conservation consequences. So fish have to respond to changing ocean temperatures, be it by changing some aspect of their physiology or by changing their distributions. So for my research, I'm looking at the physiology, specifically the thermal or temperature tolerance of both big eye thresher sharks and swordfish, which are not a shark, but I assure you are very cool. And what's interesting about both of these species is that they can spend hours in the cold waters at depth, while many other active species like tuna are only capable of much shorter excursions beneath the thermocline. If you don't remember what the thermocline is, it's that layer in the ocean above which you tend to have high temperatures, fairly uniform, but below which, as you increase depth, temperature decreases drastically. So it's getting colder the deeper you go. And this is interesting because activity at low temperatures is actually fairly difficult. Cold causes physiological processes to slow down. So if I asked you to run a mile, you could probably run faster on a warm summer day versus a cold winter afternoon. More specifically, at present, my research is determining how the muscle functions at different temperatures in both of these species, both high and low, and I'm actually sending along a second video which will go into a little more detail if you have time to watch it. The next question, however, is what goals do I have for the future? Very briefly, I'm fairly certain that I would like to be a professor, specifically at an institution dedicated to research and education. I want to help people understand the interactions between changing environments and animal physiology. And finally, saving the best for last, the most important question, what advice do I have for any young girls interested in science? It's simple. It's to get your hands wet. Do anything and everything. Volunteer at an aquarium, play in a tide pool. And most importantly, always ask why. If there's something you don't know or understand, ask somebody. If they don't know the answer, ask somebody else. Never stop asking. And who knows, maybe if nobody has the answer, you found your doctoral research project. All right, on that note, I hope you guys are having a fantastic day. I hope you're learning a lot. And I'm going to go work on a second video just in case you have time to hear about muscle. Bye.